Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Voices of the Void. Hey. Ooh. Uh. Right then. Right.
I work at a gas station in rural Pennsylvania. It's a boring job, but it's pretty easy and it pays alright. A few weeks ago, this new guy started. I'll call him Jeremy. Jeremy is weird. He's about 25 or 26 and he hardly speaks. But he's got the creepiest laugh I've ever heard. My boss and I have both noticed this, but it's never been a problem, so there's not much we can do about it. Customers have never complained about him, and he's always done his job fairly well. Up until a few weeks ago, anyway. That's when things
Come on.
started going missing. Employee theft can be a problem at any business that sells consumer goods, and there's only one person working at a time at this gas station. It's a pretty small place. About 2 weeks ago, my boss started noticing that we were short on motor oil. At first, it was a few containers at a time, then entire shelves and boxes from the back room. Pretty soon, entire shipments would be gone the day after we got them, and it would always be right after Jeremy's shifts. My boss had checked the security camera tapes from every single night he worked, but he could never catch him in the act.
There
Jeremy
we
would
go.
lock up at closing, then the motor oil would be gone the next day. My boss usually takes the tapes.
Time to call in the drone. Still can't figure out how I'm supposed to open this.
I took the tapes home, popped them in an old VCR, and sat back. 2 days.
See. Okay, nothing's happened there. Check calibration. Okay, I guess gotta do a ping. Well, that's pinging. I can do this. Right then. Now I shouldn't have to
Sat
worry
back
about
and
my
sighed.
work.
The only thing more boring than doing this job is watching someone else do it. My boss's offer was enough to keep me watching, though, so I left the tape on. Everything seemed pretty normal. I had a
There's that weird noise again. Sounds like the antlion alarm from Half-Life 2. I mean, if the alarm is connected to a similar thing from Half-Life
Jeremy
2,
should
that
have told
means
her she already got
there's
her
something
smokes,
that's
but
detecting emotion out there. which for me is not very good.
No big deal. I
Well,
figured
with
this
some
was just a
downtime, I
weird
can just go ahead
coincidence.
and
Mrs. Templeton is
continue with my
forgetful,
work,
and Ron probably owns more than
or
one
well,
Harley.
cleaning up.
That's when the guy in the cowboy hat came back in. I felt a chill run down my spine. Don't get diesel, don't get diesel, I found myself whispering to my empty lip.
Ah.
Something really bizarre was happening.
There we go. Nice and, for the most part, clean walls.
He swept, mopped, restocked, and did all his duties exactly how you would
Gotta
expect.
check the ping. Oh, it's only India.
Something was seriously wrong with what I was seeing, and I had no explanation for it. I skipped ahead to when he locked up and walked out to his car. He hadn't stolen anything, but I kept watching just to make sure. I fast forwarded one last time to about midnight. At exactly 12:03, out of nowhere, Jeremy's face pops up on the camera. I don't mean he moved his head into view. I mean that one second the store was empty, and the next his face was all I could see. He wasn't looking at the camera. He was looking at me. I was sure of it. I screamed and fumbled for the remote. By the time I grabbed it, he was gone. Just as soon as he had left. One frame he was there, the next he wasn't. My hands were shaking like crazy, but I popped in another tape. The other indoor camera shows the back area by the cash register, and I would be able to see how he got up to put his face in the camera like that. I skipped ahead to 12:03, but there was nothing. I would have been able to see him standing on a chair or something on this tape, but he wasn't there. I didn't see him enter the store at all after he left. It's like he wasn't really there. He doesn't know the security code, and no alarms were triggered that night after he locked up. What I did see, however, was that at 12:03, the motor oil had vanished off the shelf. All of it. Same as Jeremy's face. One second it was there, and the next it wasn't. I turned that tape off and went to bed, but I didn't get a wink of sleep. My body is exhausted right now, but my mind is racing. That tape was undoubtedly the creepiest, most disturbing thing I have ever seen in my life. I work in a few hours. My boss asked me to bring the tapes back in and let him know what I found.
I'll be honest.
But really,
I think I might try first
Jeremy works
for
the night shift
myself.
tonight,
Just
directly
try
after
out
me.
like
The
the
plan is for my boss to
thing
come in
called
just
the
before I
calm
leave
mode,
and confront him
casual,
with me.
where
supposed to
like
be the one
no
who caught him
events
stealing.
happen.
I have
I
no
think it would be
idea what I'm
actually
gonna
like
do.
really calm.
I suppose I'll have to show my boss the tapes, but I don't
Like,
want to watch
well,
them
yeah,
with
really
him.
calm, but also really
I never want to see
more
something like that
calming
again.
to just
I can't get the image of
clean up
Jeremy just
this
smiling
office
directly into the
space,
camera out of my mind.
do the
It
signals,
was
you
the
know.
creepiest look I've ever seen on another
Just
human
chill.
being's face. And
Did I
Anyway,
just see something in the top
I'm
left?
gonna try again to get some last minute sleep before I have to go in and deal with this.
Oh, it's just that.
I'll let you guys know what happens.
I'm way too paranoid for
Update
this.
2:49 p.m. Updating from my phone. Apologies in advance for errors. My boss just finished watching the last of the tapes. I told him what to expect, but you really can't prepare for something like that. He's terrified, and I still am too. And Jeremy is due to come in at 4. We've got a little over an hour to get together, but neither one of us knows what to say to him. Is he just a messed up guy who likes to steal motor oil and scare the crap out of people? Or is he something else? I don't know if this is crazy, but does anyone think he could have anything to do with the time loop? My boss said he never noticed anything like that in the other tapes, but the way he popped up in this one made me think he knew I would be watching. It's like he wanted me to see what he could do, like he was showing off or something. The way he smiled into the camera was like a little kid showing you a sandcastle they just built or something. I don't know. I probably sound crazy. I sure feel the part. I'm gonna talk to my boss some more. We have to calm ourselves down and figure out how to handle this. I'll update again tonight, but I have a really bad feeling about how this is gonna play out.
There we go.
Update 4:33 p.m.
All windows
No
nicely
sign of
cleaned
Jeremy.
off.
Tried calling him, but his phone has been disconnected. We're calling the police. Update 4:33 p.m. No sign of Jeremy. Tried calling him, but his phone has been disconnected. We're calling the police.
Oh, notice a
Sign
bit of
of
blood
Jeremy.
there.
Tried calling him, but his phone has been disconnected. Tried calling him, but his phone has been disconnected.
Hmm. How? There you go. There you go. It's a lot of trash. Just trying to get all this trash out of the way. Oh, jeez. And it's for the best I get everything over to the garage. It's for the best. Since that's where I have the little crafting table. I can use it to craft together whatever I need. And I'm pretty sure debris and these pieces of trash can be used for crafting, so it's good to have it all in there. Wish there was a little bit more of an efficient way to take care of this loose trash. Similarly, like to the these trash piles. What the hell? Oop de doo. Ah, so much nicer. Solly already looks nice.
Security tape last night at work. Everything. Finally, after I finished.
Time to just get the dirt off of these walls. Clean off the floors. Oh, beautiful.
For money. It should be pretty simple. The oil always goes missing right after his shifts. I figure I'll just watch the tapes, catch him in the act, and that'll be that.
Ah, the drone's here. almost made the same mistake that I've made a bunch of times over.
It's never been a problem, so there's not much we can do about it. Customers have never complained about him, and he's always done his job fairly well. Up until a few weeks ago, anyway. That's when things started going missing. Employee theft can be a problem at any business that sells consumer goods.
There we go. Weekly results. Dr. Curl, performance wasn't the best. We cannot give you the clear warrior. But
When I was 8
360.
years old, I had a friend named Dennis.
That's nice.
He lived not too far from me in a tall, orange house. You could tell by looking at his home that it was old. The siding had started to become feeble and worn in some areas. The windows were always dark, no matter what time of day it was. It had this ominous presence about it.
Huh?
Whenever I went over to play or spend the night, I always had this feeling that someone was watching me. The air was always thick with an invisible presence. I couldn't see how someone could live with that sensation, but Dennis seemed to have gotten used to it. It was a Saturday night. We were eating dinner at his table after a long day of playing outside. His parents were in the living room watching television. They didn't want to intrude on our visit, they had told us, so we sat together. Neither of us had spoken since we sat down. We were both exhausted, so eating was a higher priority than conversation at the moment. After a few minutes, he broke the silence. "Did you want to stay the night tonight?" No. That was the first thing that jumped into my mind, but I didn't say it. Whenever I stayed overnight, I always had trouble sleeping. I didn't like being here for too long, even if he was my best friend. "Please?" he asked. His eyes had fear hidden in them, and I noticed it.
There we go.
I think I had things to do tomorrow. There's something I need you to help me with. What is it?
For
He seemed to
cleaning.
be hesitant to tell me. A slight
I
frown
need to get
appeared on his
myself
face.
some
"I'll tell you if you promise you'll stay.
things.
Will you?" I didn't want to. Not one bit. But I could tell by the way he was looking at me that he needed me. I nodded my head. He didn't smile afterward. The frown and fear still stayed plastered on his pale face. He set up a small area on the floor for me to sleep. He peeked outside to see if his parents were out of earshot,
Huh.
and they were. After that, he closed the door and looked at me. "A hand," he said. "There's a hand that comes out of the wall at night. It pulls off my blankets and tries to grab my legs. I don't know what time it comes, but it always does. For about a week now. I need you here to see for yourself. I want to make sure I'm not just dreaming or something." I was freaked out, but I understood why he wanted me there.
A
I didn't say
ward
anything.
curfer.
I only nodded my head. "Just stay up with me and wait," he said.
Orange
So he got into
plus
his bed,
plus.
and I got onto the floor, and we both lay there, waiting. I kept my eyes fixed on the wall above his nightlight, and I was sure he was doing the same thing. The invisible eyes seemed to be watching me furiously now. I felt like I wasn't welcome. I was scolding myself in my mind for staying. After about 2 hours, and it felt like many more, I saw something dark start creeping out of the wall. It was a long, rotten arm with long fingers that had blackened nails. It only came out of the wall up to the elbow, and it grabbed a hold of the blanket on Dennis's bed. The blanket slowly rolled down his body and off the bed. He whimpered when the blanket landed on the floor. Then, the hand started caressing his bare ankle, as if trying to seduce him. Dennis pulled it away from the hand and started to cry. At this point, I was terrified. I could feel my heart beating rapidly in my temples. My palms were slimy with sweat. But even through my fear, I stood up, grabbed my pillow, which was the closest thing to me, and started hitting the arm with it. It quickly drew back into the wall, as if the wall was just a puddle of water. Dennis stopped crying. His mouth was wide open, and he was staring at me. "What?" was all that came out of his mouth. I saw his eyes quickly bolt back to the wall, and a small shriek escaped from him. I turned, and now there was a rotten face sticking out, watching me with whitened eyes. Its mouth was curled into a hideous smile, showing off its black teeth. The pillow fell out of my hand, and I stumbled backward. A rotten leg started to appear. It was coming out of the wall. Suddenly, Dennis jumped up and stabbed it in the eye with a pencil he kept on his nightstand. The monster fell backward into the wall with a shriek. Tiny droplets of blood had spilled onto the floor, staining the wood. We looked at each other, both terrified. We sat in the corner the rest of the night, never taking our eyes off the wall. That was the last time I ever set foot in that house. He told his parents about everything that happened the next day. His parents were really understanding and actually believed the story. They left not too long after to live with Dennis's grandparents about 100 miles away. They bought a new house while they were there. The house is still there. It's been empty ever since. But sometimes I'll drive by and look at the tall, decayed orange building. The feeling of being watched always crawls inside me, even when I'm in my car at a safe distance. And sometimes, when looking at the dark windows, I can see one white speck in the darkness, watching me. My husband and mother and I were all on vacation at an oceanfront hotel in Myrtle Beach a couple years ago. My mother and I had been staying at this particular hotel annually since I was 4. They had recently built a new, larger building, and this was our second year staying in the new hotel suite. There were 2 bedrooms separated by a door and a mini kitchen. My husband and I got the bedroom directly facing the ocean. At the foot of the bed was a large wardrobe with a chair in front of it. On the other side of that was an entertainment center, and past that, the sliding glass door that led to our balcony. We went to sleep one night, and I was awoken sometime around 3 in the morning by a sliding sound. Having been plagued by nightmares as a child, I startled pretty easily and sat upright. The sliding glass door was open, and beyond it I could see the blackness of the night sky and the blackness of the sea, interrupted only by occasional whitecaps. My husband checked the door to my mother's half of the suite, and it was still closed and latched. I had moved to sit on the chair at the foot of the bed, shaking. I was shaking because from the sandy concrete outside the glass door, small, dark, wet footprints made their way into our hotel room,
boards and
soaking into the carpet and stopping at the foot of our bed. At this point, my husband quietly went over and closed the sliding glass door, shutting out the sound of the ocean outside, and turned back towards me, exasperatedly claiming that he didn't know what to do, and it was probably just sea spray, and he stopped complaining abruptly, not a common behavior for him, and just sort of froze in place. I remember intensely the feeling of everything clicking together, and the realization hitting me, as I followed his gaze and realized that with the sound of the ocean now sealed behind the door, I could hear the quiet dripping of something right by my ear. "She's above me, isn't she?" I whispered. Now, here's where it gets either stranger or less strange, depending on how you wish to interpret things. As soon as I spoke, I began to look up, only to be shaken awake by my husband, who was lying in bed behind me. It was the same time it had been in my dream. I was shivering violently because whatever I had seen above me was so terrifying that I can't adequately articulate how it felt. Pure, primal, unfiltered fear with no conscious thought. I shakily asked why he woke me up, realizing that he had been asking, "Are you okay?" He told me that I was twitching violently, crying, and making strange little whimpering and wheezing noises. I sat up in bed and looked around to reassure myself. We had left the sliding glass door open the night before,
Mm.
and sure enough, the ocean and sky beyond were dark. But this time we were back on the fourth floor, which is where we were supposed to be. There were no footprints, but everything was in exactly the same place it had been in the nightmare. Even the furniture, whose position I hadn't bothered to memorize, and bags that we had tossed on the sofa the evening before. It was like the nightmare happened in real time.
There we go. Calibration. And then do this. Oh, jeez. Oh no, how do I do this? like that. Hmm.
Let me on its three legs, and I
Well,
realized what it reminded me
that
of:
was a productive day.
a barbecue grill. In the blink of an eye, its clawed arm shot out and clamped around the handle to my precious shovel, effortlessly tearing it
So,
from my grip and
I
dropping it to the
hope you
walkway.
enjoyed,
It
and
shot
I
out
will see
again,
you guys
and this time got me by the
in the
neck.
next one.
It slammed me to the ground, taking apparent care not to choke me just yet,
Bye.
but at least caused considerable